Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Refreshing and goes down smooth. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
How's your day going?
Going good. Thank you. Yes.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
Hey Bronco Nation, this is Shannon Keegren with Boise State Softball. Summer in Idaho is the best time of year. Rodeos, camping trips, and the hikes that end in views you'll never forget. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're here to get you there. With a team known for incredible customer service, the best new and pre-owned inventory, and a commitment to making your experience easy, friendly, and fast. But here's the best part. Every purchase here helps support Boise State Athletics through their NIL partnerships and athletic sponsorships. See you soon at Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, and our major sponsors, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, RoadPaint.com, and the Blue and Orange Store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State Athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, what's going on, Bronco Nation? Happy Monday. Welcome back to another live edition of Bronco Nation News Live here at Bronco Nation News. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on X. Make sure you're following, subscribing, liking us there. And by the way, starting today, I got to update that crawler at the bottom. Now a 60% off sale in conjunction with the baseball transfer portal opening at some schools and some other places. So if you're interested, join BNN right now. Full year, 60% off. You can subscribe at BroncoNationNews.com. It's Monday. We're going to talk about a couple offensive linemen today, and that means we're playing to the strengths of our man Brad Bedell, former NFL offensive lineman, Boise State offensive line coach. Brad, hope you had a great weekend. Always enjoy kicking off the week with you. How we doing?
Good. How you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Good fun weekend with the kiddos out on the baseball field and ready to get after it here and talk about your favorite topic, offensive linemen.
That's right. It's talking about two good ones and see where they fit.
Billy kicks us off watching from Minnesota. Appreciate him. But Sky Ship, longtime viewer here, Brad, watching from Honduras this morning.
Wow.
He says it's 10 a.m. there, so it's only, I guess, it's Central Time Zone there in Honduras. But always appreciate folks watching from all over the globe, the country, the world sometimes. So they got internet down there in Honduras, and he's watching the show. So we appreciate you, Sky, for checking us out.
Yeah, I'm sure they have internet, if not Starlink.
Well, that's not what I meant, but yeah, they're happy that even when folks are on vacation or work trips, whatever, they find ways to watch us live, watch us on tape. We always appreciate it. We are in the Sun Cruiser studios. Hope you enjoyed a couple Sun Cruisers over the weekend, whether it's a strawberry lemonade, all the iced tea flavors, a lot of options. So we appreciate all of you that have continued to support the sponsors, and that starts with our title sponsor, Jim Sturk, Lithia Ford of Boise. Make sure you check them out, lithiafordboise.com for your next newer pre-owned vehicle. I know Jim took care of you back in the day, right, Brad?
Absolutely. He was the dealer car.
Yep.
Ford F-150. It was great.
Not bad. So, I know he's taking care of Spencer and I think Jeremiah and a lot of the coaches. So return the favor, folks, for your next new or pre-owned vehicle, Lithia Ford of Boise. Bob Schuler, the former catcher on the 1980 baseball team at Boise State, just says he's watching from his man cave. That's still good enough, Bob. We appreciate you for checking in and watching as well. Brad, do you want to start lineman? You know what? Let's start UFL because I think that was pretty cool yesterday. We're going to talk about a couple linemen today as we continue our countdown, but shout out Jonah Dalmas yesterday in the UFL. I'm on the fence about showing the clip because you can't monetize it and you get flagged for copyright, but maybe we like Jonah so much it's still worth it just to making any money on the show today and showing the clip. I'll think about it in the next 30 seconds. But there are copyright restrictions in terms of showing, a TV broadcast clip and all this. But
sure, it's on your it's all over. I mean, everybody's tweeted about it.
I know, but for whatever reason, Twitter, you can post it, whatever. But if you play it on YouTube, then you all of a sudden they flag you for copyright.
If you want to see the kick, go to your YouTube or your X feed and see the kick.
Yeah. I know, but I was going to, most people have probably seen it, but I was going to maybe show it here on the show. But either way, it's out there. Go find it. Go watch it. Jonah Dalmas, former Boise State kicker, number 3 all-time and made field goals, Brad, in the NCAA. 3rd most made field goals in the history of college football. Took advantage of that 5th COVID year that he got, and had a heck of a career at Boise State. I know it didn't end well in the Penn State game with a couple of misses, but he had a heck of a career at Boise State, and he makes some history with the 61-yard field goal that gives it's a 4-point kick, Brad. They were down 14-10. He was playing for the Columbus Aviators, played 3 games with them to wrap up the season. But yesterday, one of the cool UFL rules, they're down 14-10. So you think, normally you got to get a touchdown. No, in the UFL, if you kick a 60-plus yard field goal, it's worth 4 points. So they strategically got it to 61 yards, and he makes a 61-yarder to tie the game at 14-14. Also had makes from 49, 51, and made a 58-yarder also. So made a 58 and a 61-yarder in the same game, and the 61-yarder goes for the 4 points. He scored over half of his team's points on the day. Like you said, the video's out there, but pretty cool to see Jonah Dalmas latch on late in the season with the Columbus Aviators of the UFL, and then obviously have a heck of a day to finish off the season yesterday.
Yeah, it's his second best kick of all time. I believe he made it over the pools at Circa. No,
that's right. That's right.
Is it Circa?
With Brad shirtless in the pool with, just chugging 2 beers at the same time.
That's right. No, you want to talk about just taking advantage of an opportunity. I mean, just drilling 61. 61, 61. Doesn't matter what league you're in. And so, I'll be interested to see he'll all of a sudden he'll get on some lists now for NFL training camps and franchises saying, okay, what's this kid got? I mean, especially if you take the last NFL season, though some of these teams are going through 3 or 4 kickers in a year.
Yeah.
I mean, you miss one, sorry, here's your meat sandwich and a cold beer. You got to go. Your locker room's packed. We're going to bring in somebody else. So I think it could, he'll get him on some lists at least. But I wouldn't be shocked if you see him have some workouts here just to have him kick live with some franchises and then see where it comes as they're going through training camp. And
yeah,
a lot of teams got their 2 or 3 kickers right now. You're only going to keep one, and then the cycle just keeps coming. And so I hope he gets his opportunity. That's it. That's 61-61. That's hard to do.
Shout out Winston Venable, who helped kind of negotiate the deal and get him to Columbus there. Winston doing a great job. As you know, Brad, with some former Broncos as their agent and stuff. He was doing the marketing, the financial stuff, and now he's an official certified NFLPA agent. And so I know Winston did some stuff with Alex Tubner to get him up in Canada, was involved in your guy Ben Dooley and helping him, and obviously did this deal with Jonah Dalmas as well. And so it's one thing, Brad, as you said, that to go kick at a workout or to put go to a kicking camp or send him a YouTube video of from your phone of making a 60-something yarder, but on ABC or whatever channel it was, national TV in a real game with fans to make a 61-yarder. I mean, that's going to certainly help his chances here moving forward.
Well, there's no doubt, but imagine the confidence that he's gotten from the coaches. Remember, that's the 4-point kick was to tie, so he had to make it just to tie the game.
Yeah.
So
it was still a little earlier in the game. It wasn't like it was a minute left in the game or anything, but
right. But still, it's like you still got the confidence. Like if it's earlier in the game, you're down by 4. You got a 61-yard field goal. Most coaches go, you know what? Either punt or go for it, right? No, we're gonna kick it. You're gonna do what? No, we're gonna kick it. I think he can drill it from 61. All right. I bet you that thing was good from, what do you think? 62, 63?
And the 58-yarder, the 58-yarder that he hit too was probably even further, kicked further. It was he crushed that one too.
So yeah, good for him. I'm happy for him, and hopefully that some opportunities that'll arise coming out of that.
Now, Cam Camper, another former Boise State player, also had a heck of a game yesterday, as Rom's World points out. 74-yard touchdown for Cam Camper. By the way, Jonah Dalmas for the season, 3 games with the Aviators, and he was 6 of 9 on field goals, but he was 4 of 7 from beyond 50 yards. He was 3 for 5 on 50 to 59, and then 1 of 2 on 60 plus. And I believe one of those 50-yarders got blocked. Yeah, he did have a block. So basically 6 of 8 on field goals, but stats say 6 of 9. But makes 6 field goals, 3 games. Also did the kickoffs there, and even handled the punting. 3 punts for Jonah Dalmas for 131 yards, averaged 43.7 yards on 3 punts. Also, as I said, did the kickoffs as well. So a nice 3 games for him. And then Cam Camper has played 7 games with the Orlando Storm. Now, they've made the playoffs, so they'll be moving on here, Brad. But 23 catches, 340 yards, and 3 touchdowns for Cam Camper, the former Bronco. He had a 74-yard touchdown yesterday, averaging 14.8 yards on the season per catch. And another nice job for Cam Camper, a receiver. And I know they don't get like huge crowds at some of these games. I mean, I joke about my Battlehawks here. Where's my Battlehawks hat? I mean, they get like 20-something thousand, mostly just to stick it to the NFL. Why'd you get rid of our team? But a lot of these teams aren't getting a lot of big crowds. People, it's kind of I won't say a joke, but spring football, not a lot of people give it much of a deal. And unless you are watching a former player or whatever, I don't know if a lot of people are watching a lot of these games and think of it more as a joke, spring football, whatever. And it may be that way for some of the fans, Brad, but as we're talking about for a Cam Camper or a Jonah Dalmas or these guys trying to make a name for themselves and get back on the NFL roster, it's certainly a pretty cool thing and a very important thing for these players.
No doubt. Yeah, it's an opportunity to play the game. And it's an opportunity to move on and see if you can, get with a franchise and see what happens out of that. I think wide receiver is harder to make it than kicker, to be honest with you. I mean, just because there's so many wide receivers that have so much NFL experience that aren't even on a franchise right now. So I think if you can dominate, you got to dominate that league like a 75 or 74-yard touchdown and show explosive speed, and which he's done this year. But it's hard. There's been some guys coming out into that league, coming out of that league on defense, meaning linebacker to edge rusher, things like that get opportunities. But I think you got to dominate, which Cam's done a very good job this year, doing well. So we'll see what happens with it.
And, there's been some stories here. I mean, Jake Bates, the Detroit Lions kicker, Brandon Aubrey, the Dallas Cowboys kicker, were in this UFL league and got seen. And Bates was kicking 60-plus yarders in the UFL. I think he made a 65-yarder, and then all of a sudden the Lions saw him and scooped him up. So, I mean, there's scouts out there. There's players watching, like I said, and this, hopefully both for Cam and for Jonah, but hopefully this late season stretch here for both those guys, like you said, gives them an opportunity here in the coming weeks with NFL OTAs and summer stuff starting up.
Yeah, hope so. I mean, they got some time to. Now Cam's in the playoffs, so he's got a longer trek here season wise, and
4 teams make the playoffs. By the way, for those curious, there's 2 games this weekend, and then the championship will be, I think, June 13th here in 2 weeks.
Which is interesting, actually, to be honest with you, is the way that schedule matches up. The NFL, they wrap up their offseason training here around the 13th or the 14th, maybe a week later. I know they get a full 3.5 weeks off going into training camp. So it's interesting the way the playoff teams, you can't even get them in and practice them. Now, you could sign a guy right now and get him in for a mini camp or the OTAs that are left and see how it works. So, but everybody wants to have winners. And when you go to the playoffs and you win, it just helps your cause and things like that. So hopefully that an opportunity will arise for them.
Yeah, and they did say, in the past they would start like the week right after the Super Bowl and just keep the football going. This year they did some changes. They didn't start till like late March because they were doing some different. They had some new cities opening up and some things like that. But so they started later, which is why they're going later. But the UFL owner did say that their goal next year is to get closer to the end of the NFL season. So I think it would end earlier, which might allow for what you're talking about.
Right. We'll see. I mean, it's, you gotta, schedules always change.
And I keep saying it, but could have had a team in Boise. There was a deal. There was a verbal agreement in place, according to the documents that we uncovered. The Birmingham team this year could have been in Boise this year. And how fun would that have been watching Cam Camper, Jonah Dalmas? And I guarantee you, if they had a team in Boise, a couple more guys would have been signed to that roster from Boise, and you'd have had, whether it's Dan Hawkins or who knows. I mean, you'd have been a perfect UFL coach. Brad Bedell coaching the UFL Boise Broncos. I don't know. That would have been fun to watch. You always talked about if you and Rid, and you guys coached together, that you might not win a game, but you'd have a hell of a time. I think the UFL might be perfect for you guys.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I think UFL we'd win. But I tell you what, though, if you bring a UFL team into Boise and you get some really good, solid Boise State alumni that's played here, you wouldn't have 10,000 people in the stands.
Oh, no doubt. They were going to play at the Blue and everything. It would have been awesome.
Are you kidding me? That place would be packed. I mean, look at what the soccer team's doing.
Yep.
I mean, and that's
people love football in this town. You get,
with all due respect, that's soccer.
Yep.
You
could have got Brett Rippon to come back and finish his career as the quarterback or something. I mean, you could have a lot of cool things.
You'd have a lot of cool things, and I think this town would support it and things like that. But that's where the UFL's got to start making some decisions and not understanding River Rafters. That's actually a good one.
I like that cool team name. But it's not happening now, from what I hear. It could have happened for a while. I think that ship has kind of sailed, at least in the near future. They already announced Oklahoma City as one of the new teams. Would have been cool. We'll see if it resurfaces in the future. But my understanding is right now that's not on the radar. But UFL, cool opportunity for some of these guys. Programming note, I did text Jonah Dalmas this morning, Brad. I was trying to get him on the show just to catch up with him. He's actually he's on a flight right now during the show and couldn't make it work. But later this week, He's actually headed back to Boise now to take some time off and spend some time with his family, and said he'd be happy to join us either later this week or early next week. So we will get Jonah on the show and check in with him on that. But cool for Jonah. Cool for Cam. I know Hank Bachmeier actually is like the number 3 quarterback, I think, on that same Orlando Storm team with Cam Camper. So Hank Bachmeier, I don't think he's played, but he's at least practicing and on the roster there, keeping his football dreams alive too. And I think there might be 1 or 2 other Boise State guys hanging on that in that league as well. So cool for those guys, and we'll continue to follow them. And Cam Camper, Orlando Storm, they're in the playoffs, so we'll keep an update on them. They were the number 1 seed in the league, and they play on, I believe, Sunday afternoon. So we'll be checking up on that. All right, Brad, we're going to continue our countdown. We're counting down the 26 most important players to the Boise State football team in 2026. You like that? 26 and 26? I think that's no one's ever thought of doing something like that. So we're the first, but we are excited, and we're going to talk about a couple offensive linemen today on our list, and we'll do that in just a second. But first, want to tell you about our couple sponsors that make this show free of charge for you to watch on various social platforms here, including YouTube. And as I said, it starts with our title sponsor at Lithia Ford of Boise. LithiaFordBoise.com. You can view their full inventory of vehicles. They got their anniversary sale going on now, and they support Boise State about as big as anyone. So if you want to return the favor, that next car or truck purchase, check them out online or visit them in person there. Make sure you support our title sponsor, folks, Lithia Ford of Boise. Hey, Sun Cruiser, our studio sponsor, perfect time, whether it's watching some golf, watching baseball over the weekend, barbecue with friends, family. Sun Cruiser, whether it's the lemonade vodkas, the iced tea vodkas, so many flavors. Pick one up at a Jackson's, at a Ridley's, at one of your local grocery stores, gas stations today. Sun Cruiser, our studio sponsor. Hey, Idaho Central Credit Union. Just had a guy, Mike. Appreciate you, Mike, emailing me this morning saying he wants to get a mortgage and he wants to support the sponsors and use ICCU. Who should he reach out to so they know that they're supporting us because of BNN? I really appreciate that. I got him in touch with the folks, and they are Brent Cotter, our mortgage guy out in Nampa that did my mortgage, actually, is going to help him out. And so we can directly contact you with the sponsors, folks, and that includes Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com, whether it's a car mortgage, a home mortgage, whether you just all your banking you want to switch over, they can do it all for you. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Hey, Jackson's and Extra Mile want to help you save money at Roaring Springs Water Park. That's right. You can save up to $32 at Roaring Springs when you buy 2 Coca-Cola products from our friends at Jackson's or Extra Mile by Jackson's. Just go into Jackson's, buy 2 Coca-Cola products, and you get savings up to $32 from our friends at Roaring Springs. Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com. We appreciate the Nicolason family, SON Management Group, for their support of BNN. And if you're looking for a delicious, healthy, quick meal, I'm telling you, folks, you haven't been in there in a while, check the menu at Taco Bell. It's changing daily, the whole Cantina line. They've got some of the bowls that you can turn into salads and things, which I do if you want to, you try to eat a little healthier. My kids love all the great options there, the crunchy chicken Cantina tacos and the quesadillas and everything is just awesome. And we appreciate Taco Bell. Treasure Valley Taco Bell location. Visit one today. The Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. You can get your, they're almost out, folks. Limited edition 40th anniversary of the blue letter jacket. I just know, Brad, that we're going to see Kent Riddle rocking one of these jerseys or one of these jackets at one of these late night shows at the James or whatever this year, because this just seems like it's right up his alley. 40th anniversary of the blue. Look at that logo on the front there. Fully customizable letters jacket there. And you can purchase that through the Blue and Orange Store, the official in-venue provider of Boise State merchandise, the best selection, the best prices. If you want authorized, legit, Boise State Nike gear, all the great options, get it from our friends at the Blue and Orange Store, online at theblueandorangestore.com. All right, Brad, now if you were doing this list, you would say the 5 offensive linemen are the 5 most important players on the team. We couldn't quite get them in the top 5, but we do have 2 more back-to-back here at number 16 and at number 15 that we wanted to talk to you about. And we're going to start at number 16 with our man, the center, redshirt freshman, obviously some big shoes to fill. Stewart Taufa coming in, redshirt freshman, number 16 on our list. Stewart Taufa, and not 100%, locked in. They haven't announced him as the starting center yet, Brad. There's competition there, but he is, he was the first guy that Spencer Danielson mentioned in the presser before spring camp even started. He's the guy that got, most of the first team reps. I know there were some injuries and things like that, and they're they're going to try some different guys there. Steele's going to be in the mix. They even said Roger would take some snaps if there's injuries and things. But Stewart Taufa, redshirt freshman, right now appears to be the what I would call the heavy favorite to be the starting center. I know we've talked a little about him in the past and just the intricacies that come with being a center as a redshirt freshman and things, but what's your take on the shoes that Stewart's having to fill there as some of these guys, Mason Randolph and company, move on, and now a youngster going to step in there at center, it looks like?
I mean, I think it's good. I mean, he hasn't played a lot, so we don't know, right? We really don't know where he's at against competition. Besides practice, he's played in 3. But he's a young man that's extremely strong. I watched him in the spring. Gets good movement. Obviously, we talked about the height a couple weeks ago, which doesn't bother me whatsoever. Smart young man that they really trust to lead the show with the leadership capability that position needs. It's actually him and the other young man we're going to talk about is they haven't played competition-wise in a true game. They haven't played in a game consistently, right? And I want to go back to this is where we can get into the situation of past offensive line. We talked about they got experience. They're going to be okay. They got experience. They've seen a lot of football. It doesn't matter. They may not be practicing a lot, but they've seen a lot of football. But now the next 2 have not. So I think let's just take Stewart's starting center in the national or going into week 1. Week 1 versus Oregon at Oregon is going to be a true test of where he is at, right? I mean, you just don't know. The nice thing about the center is he's going to have 2 experienced guards with him, which we talked about. That helps him a lot. But you can create double teams for centers. You can create some help for centers out of certain fronts, right? Between sliding the line or run game wise, you can set up double teams for the odd front. Odd front means that the nose is right above the center. You can create double teams in run game to help him out to really dent the defense and create more of a physical aspect of the game. So I actually think the young man's the sky's the limit. I think this kid is got, and we've said height, but he's got some length to him a little bit more than I thought he did, to be quite honest with you, the first time I saw him. And so I don't think strength's not a question. Length's not a question.
6'1", 302 is what he's listed at, by the way.
Right. And so I think he'll be fine. I think there just needs to be a little bit of a learning curve that's going to happen early. And that's going to be something that the coaches have to deal with, to put him in some situations where he's not exposed so much, where he's got a lot of one-on-ones and things like that. So I think he's going to be a very good football player, but we have not seen him play a lot in games. That's why I'm intrigued.
And he is a guy, again, from St. George, Utah, played some of his high school there in St. George, and then ended up finishing up at Bishop Gorman down there in Las Vegas. And as well as anybody, Brad, I mean, Bishop Gorman, obviously one of the premier high school football programs in the entire country, turns out a ton of guys, and he decided to finish up there, and it obviously did a lot of good things there, and a lot of the stuff that we have the article right now you can read at BroncoNationNews.com, a lot of comments and things, but I mean, here's just a sampling. Spencer Danielson using things like natural leadership abilities, smart football player, very strong, very explosive on every single workout in the weight room. He noted, Brad, that he's on rack 1, which is for the strongest guys on the team. So Stewart's in that group. He said he's also probably one of the biggest smack talkers on the O-line, wants to bring the juice, makes the guys around him better, which obviously at center is a huge part of it. So you're talking leadership, you're talking smack talking from a redshirt freshman. Sounds like confidence-wise, maybe he's the guy ready to step in there and take this role.
Yeah, so it's what you're looking for. You can't have a mute center. You can't. You just can't. If you're a mute center, you go somewhere else. You can't. You just can't.
How is Garrett Larson in that category?
High. Now he'll talk some smack, but he's so you could take. We can actually talk about 2 different centers that I have that are completely opposite. You had Garrett Larson, who is actually very vocal. really good. Kakani was very vocal, and they were vocal kind of on and off the field, where Mason Hampton, he was very, subdued. He wasn't real vocal off the field, but once you put him on the field, that's where his natural leadership came in. And he understood the position that, hey, I've got to run the show. And so he obviously he was well coached, obviously, before I even got here, but he's a guy that, when you meet him, he's kind of introverted, accounting major, introverted. But once you got on the field, he ran the show and he demanded respect and got respect. Where, Lar was a dirt dog. And so he was a guy that made a lot of calls, things like that, understood some things, but he played next to John Mulshon. So John Mulshon, who could play center too, played center for Tampa, started at right tackle, so he kind of knew everything. So he had a little bit of the situation of here is Lar had some veterans playing with him, where Stewart's going to have some veterans playing with him. That's just going to help him out. It's going to help his development. But I'll tell you this: at center, you got to be most competitive, you got to be the most vocal, and you have got to be a strong guy that just loves to get dirty with it. And it sounds like he's just a long list of centers that's going to come out of Boise State that have been very successful, just because of their makeup. And that's why I think they love him. And he's a good football player now. He's a really good football player.
So I know we've talked about this, but obviously snapping is very important, and probably you got to have good snaps. That's what you're there as a center, is to snap the ball. But you're also setting fronts. You're also obviously have to block guys as well. I mean, what in terms of the lack of experience and what he's going into, just say in Eugene on September 5th, like what can you not, in terms of the game speed and everything that's happening, like what can you not really simulate in a film room or on a practice field? Or like, he played in 3 games very sparingly. Like, once he gets out there and plays a full game, what's going to be the biggest challenge to that? The biggest, and then what areas does playing in a game, I guess, quickly kind of help you improve on some of that?
Well, number one is the speed of the game. You're just not going to, I don't know. I haven't looked at Oregon's depth chart yet. I haven't seen what they have. I'm certainly not going to worry about that on June 1st. But I guarantee the nose or the 3 technique or the shade is not some donkey. He's going to be a good football player. So speed of the game, number one. Number 2 is however they're setting their protection game plan wise, he's got to get that done. The other thing is Oregon in the past hasn't been a big stem defense, where the D-line shifting, showing one front and shifting. Obviously, everybody's seen it on 1st and 10, coming off of a new series. Andy Avalos loved to stem. Spencer loves to stem, to show one front get to the other. Now, whenever they stem to a different front, you got to drop your hip, and it changes everything. It changes your combos. It changes your protections. It changes everything. So he's going to have an understanding of doing that, and his urgency is going to have to be through the roof with that. And so that's going to be the biggest difference, right? Is that kind of little things within the game that he needs to figure out real quick. Film wise, you can figure it out a lot, right? Because defenses can only stem from one front to the other based off their personnel and what they're showing before that. So if it's an odd front, they usually stem to a 4 down, they're going to stem from the boundary to the field to create a 4 down front. So you can get stuff on film in that regard. So it's just urgency, right? You got to do it with some urgency. And so I guarantee that they're going to be on him all the time about, once they're getting ready for Oregon, like, hey, your urgency's got to get going, right? We can't take a delay a game because you can't figure out the front and make a call. So urgency. And Tim will do a great job of that. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to get him prepared. The young man's going to be nervous, I would think. And to say this, I don't know Stewart personally. I don't. So I just know what I've read and who I've talked to and how great the young man is, how smart he is. I just don't know what he's like game day when he's going to get the ball in his hand, because I've seen some centers go absolutely bat crazy in a game because their anxiety's through the roof, so they're going to have to settle down earlier. There's only two positions that touch the ball. The center touches the ball the first play of every game. The quarterback touches it next. So that's why that center position is so important. Everybody wants to talk about the left tackle. I get it. But if you have a center that can't snap with urgency and can't set protections with urgency, can't do anything, you are going to have a really rough go.
Yeah.
So that's where they're gonna figure that out at the start of the game. And I guarantee Keene knows his personality, right? He knows his personality. And so he's gonna, play to his strengths within that personality. And so, that's where, that's why you coach centers differently, in my opinion.
But overall, just final thing quickly to wrap it up on him. You feel, even though, redshirt freshman, but everything you've seen and heard, folks shouldn't be, too worried about him if he's the center.
No, not at all. It's just don't. I mean, we can't. If he has a bad couple of snaps in the first 3 series, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. He's gonna have to settle into this game.
Yep.
Right. And we're talking about how they're playing on Saturday, but he's just going to have to settle in, and he's going to have an understanding of put some urgency on himself too and get through that. That's the thing about it, is the coaches can do whatever they can, but the player needs to put some urgency on himself. Okay. It's a mindset. And if you don't have a mindset, and your mindset's like, oh, I'm just going to get through practice. Like, no. You're about to make your first start in Eugene, which I assume is going to be a top 5 to top 10 team in the country.
Yeah.
You have to put the urgency on yourself. It's training. It's brush your teeth with urgency. I don't care what you do, but you have to train your mind. We're going to be urgent. And so once you just train your mind, things will come forward.
By the way, Brad, you mentioned Oregon, maybe top 5, top 10. I haven't said this yet, but yours truly will have an influence on that this year.
Are you voting?
I've been picked as the state of Idaho representative in the Associated Press top 25 poll this year. So there's no money involved. There's nothing cool about, but now I can just get all the hate mail of having some team 12th instead of 13th and somebody ripping me for it. But I'll be an AP voter this year.
Cool. You know who you're not going to vote in? Colorado State.
UNLV.
UNLV. Don't get me started.
No, I'm going to be fair,
cool.
and we'll see.
Yeah, I mean
I did it for basketball for 7 years, and I can tell you basketball is a lot harder because there's like 3 games a week sometimes, and a lot more head-to-head type stuff and conference standings that have to come in. I've been told football is a lot easier. I did the basketball for 7 years. When we left for BNN, they made the switch because there's some rule where you got to be associated with, like, you have to be an Associated Press,
right,
or whatever it gets it, but somehow they're running out of people in Idaho, and since we're technically with CBS and 247, there's some back way where they can say we're AP affiliate. So I was able to get it. I reluctantly agreed to vote this year. So we'll see.
Oregon they'll be up there.
They will be up there. Yes, for sure. All right, one more guy that I want to talk about here quickly, Brad. Tyler Ethridge, the left tackle. We will talk about him. CSU Pueblo transfer coming in. Big shoes that we talk about. Stewart Taufa having big shoes to fill with Mason. You got Cage Casey's replacement here, looking like it in a CSU Pueblo transfer. We'll talk about him in just a second. I do want to thank Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate. #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. Check them out. 252-9877. Matt and his team ready to help you. They helped us buy and sell our home. Tremendous customer service, tremendous help every step of the way. They can do the same for you. BauscherRealEstate.com. Hey, if you're looking for a new roof, you got a repair you need on your roof, you just want to get an inspection, you just want to get a price quote, they'll take care of you. All your roofing needs at Signature Roofing, mysignatureroofing.com. And we love the folks at Signature Roofing. They just gave away a new roof to a teacher. They're going to give away another new roof to a first responder and some other folks. So make sure you follow Signature Roofing on Instagram. Jump on Instagram. Make sure you follow Signature Roofing. They do a ton of cool giveaways, tickets, things like that. Check them out, Signature Roofing, mysignatureroofing.com. Hey, if you need a new fence, if you need a repair to your fence, I got the company you need to reach out to. It's Element Fencing, online, elementfencing.com, 208-631-2790. They are sponsoring our defensive player of the game this fall. 25-plus years in the fencing business. Brady and his staff ready to help you build that perfect project from the ground up. 631-2790. Check them out online, elementfencing.com. Tell them that BNN sent you. Hey, Ridley's Family Markets, shop ridleys.com. Locations across the state of Idaho, surrounding states as well. Ridley's Family Markets, love that Kuna location there. If you're looking for just a family kind of hometown feel when you walk into a grocery store, Ridley's is your place. Support local folks, support Ridley's Family Markets, and maybe in some cases it's a few extra minute drive to where you might have a big corporate conglomerate right there on your street corner, but it's worth it. Go check out Ridley's Family Markets, and rowpaint.com, all your painting needs. Make sure you hit up Andy Rowe and company at rowpaint.com, whether it's interior, exterior painting, commercial, industrial, residential, those concrete coatings. They can do it all, folks. 991-0567. Check them out at rowpaint.com. And Brad, I want to throw a quick plug in for the Horseshoe Collective. Joe Nickel and company reached out. They got some camps coming up, a basketball camp, also a volleyball camp coming up as well. And as you know, Brad, actually this week going on right now is the Boise State Youth Football Camp, and that's being done, through Boise State. But the Horseshoe Collective now can do these separate camps where the players get a little more money out of it. And so the Horseshoe Collective, Boise State University, top-tier lessons, bringing elite two-day camps to the Treasure Valley community, opportunity to train on campus alongside active Boise State University athletes, including men's basketball and volleyball players. The camps are co-ed, open to athletes grades 3 through 8. Whether you're an athlete just getting started or looking to sharpen your game, this is a chance to develop real skills in a real college environment. Again, Extra Mile Arena, they got the camp 9 to 12 a.m. It's coming up in 2 weekends on the 13th and 14th. It's a Saturday and Sunday. They also have the afternoon volleyball camp as well. And then there'll be another basketball camp in July. You can learn more or register for the upcoming Horseshoe Camps by going to horseshoecamps.com. And I know the football camp, Brad, was always a ton of little kids running around. These kind of camps through the Horseshoe Collective are going to be kind of less athletes. It is a little maybe more expensive at times, but it's a lot more one-on-one help, and you're going to get to really know some of these athletes and basketball players, and in small groups get some real cool instruction and get to play on the Extra Mile Arena floor. And so I think I'll be sending at least one of my kids to this camp. I think it's going to be a really cool deal to get to know some of these players and see them out there on the court. And Brad, in the new NIL era and world, it's kind of cool that you can pay some of these athletes for summer camps and get them a little extra money over the summer.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it. The basketball camp, the volleyball camp, and that's through the Horseshoe Collective. All right, Brad, our number 15 on the list. I don't know if you would argue who's more important, center, left tackle. They're both very important, both replacing big guys. Like I said, we just put them back-to-back so we could talk to you about both of them. You could probably argue both ways, but we think that Tyler Ethridge, the CSU Pueblo transfer, is a little more of importance just because of who he's replacing, a fourth-round NFL draft pick and that left tackle and protecting Maddox Madsen's blind side there. And the long history, Brad, as you know, of left tackles at Boise State that have gone on to the NFL, and that's a pretty elusive club if you're a starting left tackle at Boise State. And again, nothing official. There's going to be competition there. No one has named Tyler Ethridge the starter, but you come in with 1 year to play from CSU Pueblo, and due to some injuries and things, he got a ton of reps with the first team there in fall camp or in spring camp. And not the biggest guy. I think they list him at 6'3", but when you stand next to him, he just doesn't, maybe because you're used to seeing Cage Casey out there, but he just doesn't, he's not quite the 6'6", 6'7" kind of huge tackle that sometimes you see. But that was my first thought the first day when I looked at him. I said, oh, he's a little bit smaller than I was thinking, but got rave reviews for how he played in spring camp. And it looks like Tyler Ethridge is at least the favorite. I'm not going to say heavy favorite yet, but he is the favorite, I believe, and took advantage, I think, of getting all those extra reps in spring with some of those guys being out. But Tyler Ethridge, the BNN countdown to camp, he is number 15 on our list of the most important players going into the season. Your thoughts on Tyler Ethridge?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We're talking about his height and all that, and I haven't stood next to him per se, but I've watched some things on that I could find on him. He looks longer than he is tall, right? So I'd be interested what his arm length is. there's some guys like that are easier one that comes to mind is a guy I played with, Andre Garot. He was 6'3", 6'4", but his wingspan was 6'6" and a half, 6'7", and played center, right? So you can be long. He looks longer than he is tall, right? It's kind of opposite we were just talking about with Stewart is, Tyler has seen everything he can see front-wise, schematically in football. I mean, just because the RMAC where he's coming from, that's where Pueblo plays in, they still run multiple fronts. They run multiple blitz packages. He's seen a lot of football, right? The difference is with him is just going to be speed of the game once they start getting into the season, especially versus the Oregons and things like that, right? I mean, now he's going to see the 6'6" edge. That young man, he's St. John Bosco kid. Forgot his name. His brother was Ugalele. He's at Oregon. He's really good. He's going to be an All-American. He's a sack leader, double-digit sack kid. So those are the kind of, how is that going to go? I know it's Oregon, and I get all that, and it's not a conference game, but it's still, you're going to see where he stacks up against the elite talent in the country. But it's all over, so you can't hide it. He catches the ball nice from the spring game, from the screen pass, throw back to the tight end.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm saying he looks longer size-wise. He's not as big as the left tackles that Boise's had in the past. He's not, obviously Cage is a very big human being. Who is after Cage at left tackle? I forgot.
You go way back. There's all kinds.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, Ezra. I mean, all the left tackles in the past they've all been taller, right? Well, I don't really care how tall he is. I want to see his length. That's where you're going to get in trouble. Playing that left tackle position is if you're a T-Rex. You got really short arms and you can't get extension. They're going to get a hold of your back shoulder pad and through the pass rush and start yanking and pulling and ripping and swimming and all that stuff because they're going to be able to play with length. And if he can't lock that out and they're still getting a hold of that back shoulder pad to drive themselves through on the pass rush, that's where there's going to be some issues come to the Oregon game, right? I would assume other teams are going to have some length at those positions. I don't know. Once Boise gets into conference play. But athletically is where this kid sets himself differently. This is where he fits. And with the rest of the tackles that have played at Boise State is he's a very athletic player. And that's really important. That's what they're looking for, right? You need to be an athlete, that position. Because this is the one that is going to be put on an island. You don't have a choice. There's going to be points where you are one-on-one. Is your athletic ability going to be enough versus the elite or the speed rushers you're going to be going against in and out of conference play? I think he has that. I think his change of direction is very good. I think he bends really well through the hip, so that means he's going to be able to sit the bull down well.
And you don't have any concern about him coming from a lower level?
Pueblo, no, I don't.
The speed, the athletes he went against, and how that translates.
It's good. Yeah, I mean, he's going to get obviously practice time, jumping up, playing. For Boise now, it's faster, right? Practice is going to be faster than what he's been. Like the last game he played in was versus Texas Permian Basin, and they were the number 10 team, and they lost in the playoff game. Okay, with all due respect to Texas Permian Basin,
that's not
they
Oregon.
Can't have elite pass rushers, right? I mean, they probably have around the same roster as Colorado State. So I'm just joking.
Love Colorado State.
Colorado State has a better has a better roster, but it doesn't. That's where he's going to have to. He's going to have to happen fast. Is the speed of the game and things like that, and obviously the reps have really helped through the spring. he's another one that's just going to have to practice urgency. Now, you can do some things in practice to help that with the tackle position, such as this. On third down, when you're getting ready for Oregon or in the summer, make the DN line up half a body off sides. It's not, I mean, it's a penalty, obviously, in a game, but practice, that means he's already beaten you at halfway point. So you can get into uncomfortable circumstances by bringing the DN to the guy you're going against. You're going to line up half a man off sides, right? Or what we used to do against really speed rusher types is get DBs. And so, okay, now you're gone. You're half a man, and I want you sprinting to the quarterback, right? And just to get their kicks over there, get to the pass rush interjection point to the quarterback, and then strength versus the safeties and all that. But I don't know about a bunch about Colorado State Pueblo, so I'm not disrespecting Colorado State, but I don't know the lifting program they had. So that's one thing where I've thought that what I've heard and talking to people is that he came in pretty strong. So he comes from a good high school, Midlothian in Texas, which I've been through that school. They do a great job lifting high school kids. So now
regardless, though, him getting 9 months of training and nutrition plan and all that here, regardless of how good or bad it was, and you think about when he got here to what he's going to get compared to September 5th. I mean, you would think that could be transformational.
Absolutely. Transformational. I mean,
for all these guys, but especially a guy coming from a lower level like that.
Well, lower level, but you're a senior. We're not talking about the redshirt freshman like Stewart. This is a senior. This is a 1 year, I don't want to call him rental, but he's a 1 year player. He came in here to play anywhere on that offensive line. And so he's just got to have to put the pressure on himself and see what he does versus elite pass rushers.
And we talked about this, Brad, I think a couple weeks ago, or maybe during spring camp, but, they have that hype circle where they pick a player to come in and talk, pump the team up and talk before, the practice starts after they've done the stretching and stuff. They kind of have a guy, first practice, it was Maddox, and they had, a lot of the main guys in there, Matt Wagner and all, a lot of the guys that were candidates to be captains and things like that. But there was a practice 8 or 9 or something. I mean, one of the 15 practices, and you think about 100 guys being on this team, they picked Tyler Ethridge to be the guy to go in there and speak to the team before, as a guy that had been on campus for 3 months. And not only does that say a lot, but what he said a lot. He talked a lot about just never, how grateful he was to be here. And a lot of these guys give about a 5-second, let's have a great effing day today. Let's go, Broncos on 3, whatever. And he actually, give it every rep. But he actually took like a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, and had this like passionate kind of plea that he had thought about, and just said how grateful he was to be here. And you guys don't realize how good you got it. And you got to take every rep every day and just be so grateful to be here. And I think he was really relying and talking about how, coming from a lower level, how different it is here, and how excited he was and how thankful he was and how much he was going to give his blood, sweat, and tears for this year because of how grateful he was to be here. And he hoped everybody on the team realized how lucky they were and did the same. And just to hear him say it out there in full pads before, while his whole team's wrapped around him and he's firing them up and has a passionate thing like that, says something. And the coaches picking him to as a transfer to come in and talk to the team. I thought both of those were pretty notable about what the coaches think of him, what his teammates think of him, and kind of where he sits on the depth chart. As we lose Brad Bedell right after I make a great point. We lose Brad. We'll get Brad back here in a second. But I thought Tyler Ethridge, the fact that they had him do that, I thought was a big deal. And there we go. Are we back, Brad?
Yeah.
There you are.
It is a big deal. I want to go back because that those are your peers that are choosing you. Not the coaches don't throw you in there. Those are your peers. So he's come in and accepted a challenge and adapted to the culture of Boise State football. And when your peers see that, that's you want to win over the guys in the locker room way before the coaches. I mean, the coaches brought you in there for a reason. They understand what you're all about. Now the players got to find out what you're all about. And then to go back to, how lucky they got it, that's refreshing. That's a great example of, you take the young men from the lower level and now all of a sudden you get treated, the nutrition, the food, all that. I mean, it's refreshing to hear that. I think when he wins over his peers, which he has done, is the number one thing he can do. That's work ethic. That's the weight room. That's the running. That's the way you conduct yourself in meetings. That's the way your leadership quality. And so that's where he's made the right steps and all that. Now he just gotta have to put up and see where he's at versus your top tier talent, which Oregon and the rest of this conference is it's going to be. There's some pass rushers that he's going to have to see, not just one game, all games.
Now, this is probably not I don't know, maybe it's a fair question for right now. Maybe this is a better question to ask you midway through fall camp after you've been to a couple practices. But our final question today, Vlad wants to know, do you think this year's O-line will be better than last year's O-line? I mean, 3 new starters. You get maybe 4. I mean, you get Carry-On back, but you get Matoyer back as well. You got some guys with some experience, but some new guys at some key spots. How would you compare maybe just your initial thoughts last year's line to this year's?
Hard question now. I would –
because my first thought is no. My first initial thought is how do you lose a guy like Mason and a guy like Cage? And I love that we're hyping up these guys replacing them for the last hour, and I think they're going to be solid players. But it's almost disrespectful for a 4th round NFL pick to say that Tyler Ethridge he's going to be better.
Yeah, but we're hyping up kids after we see off the potential, right? We haven't seen them play in a game at this level. I'm going to say no, not right now, not right now. And the only reason, number one, is you're losing your center and your left tackle. You're losing a left tackle that had 1 holding call in his career. You're losing a left tackle that gave up, 2 pressures last year?
Yeah.
It's just hard to replace all that. Now, I think it has the potential to be going into week 4. My gut's week 4.
Okay.
Because now you're going to have the new kids, who the 2 we just talked about have serious game reps. You got a really good tailback. That a really good tailback makes an offensive line look really good. So I don't know. I think if they gel quickly, I think it can be as good. I just don't know if it can be better until week 4 and see where they're at.
And
week 4.
Unfortunately, the first 2 weeks, we're talking about Oregon, but you got Memphis at home in the home opener week 2. I mean, you got 2 pretty big games. They're going to kind of, you start out 0-2. You're with a 12-team playoff or whatever. You're probably in a huge hole. If you can, at least compete against Oregon and hold your own and find a way to beat Memphis and be 1-1 after the first 2 games. And, I think those first couple of games, not the easiest to be breaking in multiple new starters here, as we said.
I hear you, but Memphis, Boise State's roster and all that is comparable, if not better than Memphis. I've never been on the Memphis train.
I'm just saying that's a game you need to win if you want to have big aspirations this year.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. I'm not saying that. But I don't think you can compare that Oregon game to Memphis. Those are 2 different rosters, right? I mean, you're going to – in classic example, Boise gets tested versus Oregon. And we know, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I'm not going to talk about it. What happened the last time they played Oregon in Oregon? I'm just not going to. We all know. I don't throw that game out because Oregon and Boise, in my opinion, is a rivalry. Close games. They both have beaten each other. That's a rivalry, in my opinion. It's just not a year in and year out rivalry. But a Memphis has got to come to Boise, and that's the difference. I would like to see the first home game that these 2 young men playing in as a home game rather than an away game.
Yeah.
A home game, you don't have to deal with crowd noise. And Oregon is loud. It's one of the top 5 loudest stadiums in the country. And so now let's go to that Oregon game. They had a center who was a walk-on at Oregon State that played very well. So, right? So there's
Zach
some things. Zach Holmes. So there's some things that he can utilize and things like that. So, but that left tackle spot in that environment on a loud crowd noise going off a silent snap, if you can't hear the clap, things like that, that's where that's where that position can get pretty lonely out there. Pretty lonely.
Yep.
So I'm not. I don't want to disrespect last year's offensive line or the year before's offensive line compared to this one. That's not fair to do. I'm going to say no, and then see where we're at week 4, and see. We don't even know. We're thinking this is happening, right? I just don't. I don't know. No, absolutely not.
I agree. We need to see more. I think there's some potential there, but the collective group, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be a bad group by any means. I just think that there's some things.
I don't know. Just because they're not better than last year's group doesn't mean it's a bad group. It just means that there's going to be a little bit of learning curve.
Yep.
Year before they had 4 returners, right? I mean, and so just off a return alone is not the same.
To me, it's like, would you rather have Cage Casey and Mason Randolph or Tyler Ethridge and Stewart Taufa? And no disrespect to those guys,
no,
pretty easy right now. I mean, a lot of it's because you're talking seniors, multi-year starters. These 2 guys are coming in. I know Etheridge is older, but in terms of experience at the D1 level, he's a newcomer here. So
he's a new.
We'll see. There's time for this group, as you said, to gel, and maybe maybe Matoyer makes a big step forward. So that's an overall improvement. There at right tackle, and maybe some of these other guys are with more experience. At the guard spots too. Maybe Roger Carrion's better than he was last year, and maybe somehow it collectively evens out or is slightly better. But it's in terms of the guys you're 100% replacing. I can't go that far right now.
No, we can only go on paper. On paper, no. Week 4, where we've seen them all play, you're probably going to get some kids playing that we haven't even talked about. They're not in the top 25, and see where it all fits. And so, off of paper, to compare against last year's line, they have a ways to go.
Yeah. Well, Brad, we appreciate your time as always. Number 16. Stewart Taufa, number 15. We still have Roger Carrion. I think he might be number 10 next Monday to talk about Roger Carrion and where he ranks in terms of the guard. And we've got him, I think, would just being the senior, being one of the team captains or close to it, the veteran returner on this line. We've got him, positionally, you can maybe argue some of these other guys are quote unquote more important, but with all this we're talking about with newcomers and things like that, we think we got Roger Carrion kind of as the returning, 5th-year senior type guy to lead this group, and we'll probably talk about him next week.
Yeah, I mean he's the glue. So, I mean that's he's the glue. You might as well call him Elmers because he's the glue that's going to put all this thing together.
There you go. How about that? I like it. Hey,
by the way, how about that for an NIL deal?
Bronco 130 family purchased another vehicle from Lithia yesterday. They have a great sales team. Yes, they do. Appreciate you, Bronco 130, for supporting our sponsors here, Lithia Ford of Boise. Hopefully you told them that you heard about it on BNN, or you told them to tell Jim Sturk, or you went in and told them yourself that you're a BNN viewer, because we appreciate you supporting the sponsors, Brad, but it also helps when you let them know that's why you're supporting the sponsors, so they know their advertising dollars are going a big ways. And Brad, I don't know if you booked your flights yet or not, but we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. The Circa football contest, they've since announced $30 million as the new guarantee this year. It was $18 million, I think, went to the winner in the Survivor last year. This year, they've upped the guarantee to 20, and every year they've had a guarantee, Brad, they've gone over the guarantee. So $20 million is the Survivor guarantee, $6 million for the Millions guarantee, and then $4 million for the Grandissimo guarantee. That's the $100,000 entry, Brad. Are you have it? You and Barry, and you're going to get a couple guys together and maybe go for that one this year.
No, I absolutely am not doing that this year. I am hoping to get past week 3.
I was just going to ask you. Your team name last year was hoping to get to week 2. Are we
hoping to get to week 4?
Version of that.
Hoping to get to week 4.
Well,
no, yeah, I'm not doing the $100,000, but I'm doing the other one. And you want to talk about a lot of fun? That's where to go.
The weekend itself almost pays for the entry there, because you get to hang out at the pool and hang out that happy hour, and we always have a nice dinner there at Barry's. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it's a great hotel. That's something to look forward to, but I'm excited to do it again, and it's You just get treated so well at that hotel. It's just you gotta go and experience it. And that's the one thing about it is if you don't experience it, you have no idea how well you get treated. It's not just us; it's anybody that you ever talk to sitting by that pool. It's like, can you believe
I say it all the time
from
the janitor all the way up to the owner. They treat you. It's pretty cool. Well, I've been down to Vegas with Rid. I've been down to Vegas with you. I've never been down with you guys together. So maybe for this contest weekend, that might be too dangerous for me actually, and all of us. But maybe we can get, maybe we can work on getting Rid and you down there together. I know Nathan and Chris, our other BNN employees here, maybe looking to come down for that weekend as well. And we're going to sign up some folks. If you want to sign up for the Circa contest, make your plans now. It's August 27th to 29th, week 0. Actually, a couple decent games. You get to watch week 0 out there at the pool and hang out with Brad and split face cards and have some fun. So August 27th to 29th, make your plans now. And Brad, you will be demanding while you're down there some compensation for the commercial that I'm about to show on the way out, correct?
Yeah, I want a free room.
For life.
Yeah. I want a free room.
Well,
I want a free room.
Appreciate you. Appreciate Circa. Appreciate Lithia. All of our sponsors, Sun Cruiser. Here's the Brad Bedell cameo in the Circa commercial on the way out the door. But have a great rest of your day, and we will see you guys 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bronco Nation News. Go subscribe. 60% off. BroncoNationNews.com.
The biggest contest we've ever seen.
Seriously, what's the guarantee?
They're still talking about it.
I think it's time to put the rumors to rest.
Showtime.
$30 million.
$30 million?
$30 million? $30 million?
That's $30 million guaranteed. 3 contests, multiple ways to win, no rate. Entry starting at $1,000. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere.